Hello everybody. In this video, we're going to get back again and open our login application. And what I want to do is I want to add the Cloud Firestore so we can actually save data to Firebase and then we can actually put the data in our application. We're going to protect the data only for authenticated users and we're going to follow really simple rules in there. We're going to go in deep in that section, but at least we have that in place. But I want to show you that this is an alternative that without having a backend server or Node.js server or any other type of server for API, you can use Firebase in order to save data and retrieve that information through your app. One of the cool things about Firebase is that Firebase have a really cool SDK and also it's already, how can I explain this? It have a real-time um, listener. That means when the data changes on the database, it automatically pushes through our app if we use the correct syntax. For example, do you remember when we did the to-do API? When we save something, we need to retrieve, we need to get everybody again in order to show all the to-dos. Well, in this case, it's not going to be needed because we're going to have a listener that will be verified every time there is a change. We can actually pull that data in, and I will show you how to do it. So let's get started. As I said before, in order not to create a project from zero, we're going to use the view real authorization project where we have the login. And let me just get up from here. There you go. So we can actually go through our Google login, right? And we have access to the secret page. Or we can go with the, and I believe I have it as user@fake.com. And something like this. Yes. Through email and password, and those will allow us to have access to the secret page. So what I want to do now is in this secret page is where I want to start creating our application itself. But before we start that, I want to proceed how to do the Firebase or the Firestore enable. One of the things that we need to do, we need to go to Cloud Firestore. Let's click on that one. Of course, you need to open your project. This is not my main project, but because in my main project I already did this, right? But I want to show how to do it. When you go to Firestore database, you click create, started in production mode, and click next. Select a location like US Central is the nearest from where I am, so I will enable that, and I will wait for a minute, less actually, for provision that Firestore for me. Firestore, what is a real-time and document-based database, it's a NoSQL database. That means that there is not relation between the objects. The relation needs to be identified through different IDs. So this is pretty much how it looks like that database. The first thing that I want to do before I start adding my collection and show you a little what that does, I want to go to the rules section. And let me maximize this. And here in the rule we can see that we can actually have allow read and write as false by default. So we need to change this in order to make it work. We can play with the rules, so we can do different things, so we can go to the documentation we have right here. And one of the things that I want to do, because we started as a production database, is I just want to go to step number 4. No, actually, there you go, step number 5. There's a basic security rules, and in there, this is the default one that is pretty much locked. And I want to do something really easy that all the authenticated user will have access to read and to write. And for that, I just need to copy this line. This is already pointing to all the documents, so don't worry about that. And as I said before, we are not going to use any specific details, but you can be as specific like one document is available to everybody, but only the owner is able to write and things like that, right? But for now, we just say that everybody have authenticated. Oops, let's copy this and let's paste it right here. We just publish, and that's it. We change it to when whoever do the request, the authorization authenticated is not null. That means that is already authenticated through the platform, and that's it. So the way that it actually works, it works through collections. So we can have different collections. It's like the type of element of the objects that we have. So I want to have a chat. Or we can have message actually, right? And in that collection, I will have different documents. By default, I would like to specify the auto ID, and I want to have my text as a string. It will be my message. Let's do hello there. I will have the author as a string. I will call it me, and I will have created at as a timestamp, and I will select today. And we can specify a time, but that should be enough, right? If I create that, you will see that my collections have a document, and my document have three different fields. Look at this as a JSON file, pretty much. It's a little bit like that. I can actually add another document, auto ID, and let's do the same fields, text. Let's do hello again, author. Let's do me, and let's do created at. That is going to be a timestamp. Let's make that one to be the 28, for example. Right? So I have two different documents with different values in there. And look at this as an array of message with this particular IDs, and this is the content of that particular IDs. This is pretty much how it works. And we're going to be using, going to be reading that information in our application itself. So I believe this should be more than enough just to stop here. I will minimize this for a minute. And let's proceed working through the app. So right now, we are working with let me minimize this, the main application. And the idea will be to actually use the secret page after you're authenticated, and I want to create the chat in here. And I will show you how it's a real-time chat, and we will open probably two different tabs, and you will see that how it interacts, and it's actually really, really cool. So the first thing that we need to do, we need to start changing the text. So let's get rid of all this paragraph. Perfect. And let's do a simplish one. Let's call this cool chat. Right? Let's make this a little bit appealing. And let's do a really big text. Okay, let's do font thin and tracking tighter. There you go. Let's do the center. And let's do margin top of 8. Perfect. Now, after that, I want to have a div element. And this div will be my chat window. Let's say like that. Right? So in here, we're going to have an UL. Whoa. Let's call it message. Something like this, right? And after the UL, I will have a div, probably, with an input box. That input box is type text. Let's do a placeholder. Let's do, I don't know, type a message. There you go. Something like that. And we need to start doing some kind of styling. So the main div, in general, let's do a couple of stuff. Let's do that my minimum height will be arbitrary value, I don't know, 500 pixels. And I will make this to be with full margin top of 8. So we have a separation. Let's make it rounded, large. Let's add a shadow so we can see like a 3D window. There you go. And let's make the items to be flex as a column. And let's do a justify between. So we can actually send the message in the top and this one on the bottom. There you go. And that should be enough for that one. For the unordered list, let's start adding some padding on up and down. Let's do background. Let's do a space. Why? For 4, that means that every element will be separated, right? And I'm doing that because this list item in reality is going to be before. And let's do something really simple. And in 5. For now, it's going to repeat depending how many messages do we have, right? So for this one to have an in 5, let's actually stylize this a little bit better. Let's do a div element. And here let's do 2 different spans. And this is going to be by author name, and this will be the message itself, right? Okay, that means that this class, we need to, this div, we need to add a class, and let's make it flex, probably, and justify between, so we can send the author at the end. Cool. And that actually should be for all of those. I don't know why I just did it for one. Let me refresh. Oh, I will need to authenticate again. There you go. So with the flex and justify between, let's do a background, I don't know, rate 200. And could be. Let's have some padding X of 4, padding Y of 2, and let's make it rounded. LG. Round. So we have that little things are this should be more than enough. Let me get out the green. So all of those. So that's going to be my message. So here let me just change my how can I say this? My input box to be just a little bit different. So let's add it as with full. Let's do a padding of 4, Y and X at the rounded LG. So we have the same rounding as the main table. Let's watch. Let's do what we can do. Focus. Whenever it's focused, I want to remove the outline. So whenever I click it, I don't want to see that little line that I had there. But whenever it's focused, let's do something silly. Probably this is not the best one, but let's do a yellow 200. So whenever I click, there you go. It's just yellow. Ready to send my message and be added through here. And that should be pretty much my look and feel for the application itself. Next step will be actually add our Firestore through the app. So before we continue, let's add this and create chat layout. Right, let me sync those. Okay, it's working, perfect. So the next things that I need to do, I need to go to my use Firebase because now I need to initialize my database itself. And for that, we actually need to see the different element for the Firestore. So let me get back here. Actually, this message doesn't matter. My real app is this one. So let me start my collection, chat, and let's do text. Hello there. Author is going to be me. And create it at timestamp. Let's make it the 27. And let's create another document. Auto-generated. Let's do text. Hello again. Author. Let's do me again. And create it at timestamp. And let's do tomorrow. Just to have those elements there. So in order to make this, to get started, we need to actually go and click here. Until we'll go through the documentation and we'll try to use the Firebase emulator, that is the new verse course. How can I explain this? The best next approach that we need to have in order to execute Firebase without using Firebase directly. It's like a mini Firebase inside your computer. But we are not going using the emulator right now. I don't want to go deep on that. So I just want to open my Firestore and just get started. Right? We are using the web version 9, that is modular. And here is asking us that we need to import get Firestore from Firestore itself. And after we import that, we will go down. We will have the Firebase config that we already have, and then we just call the database from get Firestore. So that's pretty much more than enough. So here, in our user Firestore, we're going to copy this line, paste it right here. Going to export our database from Firestore, and that's it. That's all the things that we need to use in our use Firebase itself. Authorization will stay, I think it's pretty much the same. Yeah, we're not touching that one. So the only things that we're going to be using for now is we're going to create a new composable. It's called the use chat. And here is where the magic starts. Right? So the first thing that we need to use, we need to import our database, right? We need that one somehow. Let's see how we need to read data. And we need to perform this data, the real-time updates. So the way that this actually works, let's go back to get all the elements, multiple documents in a collection. So we need to import a collection, a query, whatever type of logic for the query, and on the snapshot. I will follow those a little bit. So we need to have a collection, Then inside that collection need to be inside a query. And that query that here is called query. It needs to be inside the snapshot. So that's pretty much a little bit the layout. I don't want to confuse you that much, but let me show you what I mentioned about this. So in our use chat, let's import also my reference from view, right? And let's do, we need to import a couple of stuff. For example, we need to import also use out because we need to require the user, and we need to do const, what we can do here. We need to get the user from use authorization, right? We know that we need to save the user somehow. The other things that we need to do, we need to create our message element, message, that will be pretty much a empty reference, but it's an empty array. And after that, we just need to do use chat. Let's close it, and let's do export default use chat, right? That will be a little bit the layout that we need to do. So the first thing that we're checking here is that we need to have a collection. And I want to separate this to be a little more understandable about that. So in our chat, let's actually import all this from Firestore, and we're going to remove the where, and we're going to be using the order by. And I will show you that in a minute. You can proceed through the documentation to see all the elements that are there, or the API section, and you will see all the elements. But this is pretty much everything that you need right now. So inside my chat, I will create const message collection equal collection from my database, right? And then the name of the collection. So I call that one message, right? Let's go here. Oh no, actually I call it chat, right? So I need to open my collection, and I'm pointing to my, let's call this chat collection, right? To the collection that is saved called chat. So I have that one. Perfect. Next steps, I need to do a query. The query need to be sent a collection and then the statements. In this change, I changed the word for the order by. So this element I already had it. So let me create const chat query, right? Where I need to send the chat collection, and then I need to send my order by. My computer is smart enough to understand this. So the order by, I just send it the field created at. That's why I create that field created at in order to send it. That means that the newer one should be on the top. In this case, hello again should be on the top. Then I need to create an unsubscribe constant that is pretty much the snapshot element where I send the query and I get that query snapshot, and then I do something about that query snapshot. So let's proceed. And I will show you why we need to do the unsubscribe. Because if we go back, we need to detach a listener later, and pretty much we just need to call that unsubscribe later, somewhere in our code. And that's the way, if not, the listener will be on, and then you could be charged for money, or you can actually use do your whole Firebase transactions that you're limit to use, right? So for now, let's actually just use whatever the documentation is telling us. It's telling us that we need to grade from the snapshot. That's easy enough. So let's do cons unsubscribe. Let's use the same logic and let's call it on snapshot. And let's call the way they call it query snapshot, the snapshot, right? So the first thing that I will need to do, because I already have a message outside here, I will do my message dot value going to be an empty array. And probably not the best one, but it's the simplest one that I found what to do. Let me make this a little bit smaller. There you go. Then through my query snapshot, I will let for each document, pretty much all this. I need to do something about it, and I will do message. Actually, this is really accurate. Dot value dot push, because we're going to each document and we're going to push different objects that came from that document, right? Well, after that, we just need to close this. Let me get if I can save it right like that. And probably need to do something like this too. There you go. So here, when I want to push, whenever there's a snapshot, I just want to have my document ID, and that I get it through doc.id. I don't know if we can see over here. And the data itself is through the variable data, the function data. So we can actually do something like this. We can create an ID, a document ID, and then we spread out whatever we have the data for the rest of the message. And that's it. And then we can actually just use return. And we're going to return our message and our unsubscribe. The cool thing about this is that will be executed wherever we actually use the use chat element. So we can stop here for now. We just need to, and it should be more than enough in order to read the message. So let's get to where? Let's go to our secret page, right? And let's do a simple setup, right? And that setup, what I need to import, I need to import a couple of things. Remember that I was telling you that we need to unsubscribe for the value. That will happen in a live cycle called unmounted. So this is when the app is going to be removed or unmounted from the DOM. We can do something about it. So we can actually use that one, and we can actually use import, use chat from composable use chat, right? And then I can do a simple cons. I need to get my message and my unsubscribe from use chat, right? And I just need to, in my unmounted, I just need to run my unsubscribe. That's it. I just send a function in myself and it's telling that you need to be unsubscribed whenever it's unmounted. That's it. Other than that, we should be more than enough. So let's change this to message in message. And let's make the key to be my message.id. Remember that we're saving that. And because it's actually already running, let me go to my local host. Let me log in through the app. Let me log in through Google. I go to secret. And I can see two messages. Because those are the two what I have in my database is just two different documents in the chat selection. I'm not reading the content, but at least I'm doing that. So that means that the message itself can be my message.text and my author. I can leave the by. I like that. I can do my message.author. Yeah? So I can have my hello again and my hello there. Both are there by me because it's how I save it. And the newest one, or the one that has the day 28, is on the top. So it's actually working. Let me show you the real-time thing. So let me try to detach this. Let me put it to the right. Let me add another document. Let's call text. Let's call from Firestore. Author. Let's call the author to be the admin. Just in this case. And create it add. Let's make a timestamp and let's make a newer date. I don't know, the 3, for example. In order to make it to be always on top. Like it will be the newest one of those two, it should be on the top. If I save this in my database, my message should get pushed through my app without needing to call it because I'm reading or I'm listening those changes that happen on the database. At the same time, if something happened to a message, let's say for example that I want to delete this document in the one that you created, it just get deleted from my chat because I'm not using it anymore. So this is the real-time element that I was talking you about. How those messages are reading from the database, and whatever is happening to the database, our applications react accordingly, and we're able to see it just because we are authenticated through the app. That's it. We have that protection there. So let's put this back. Oh, something happened. I don't know what happened there. Sorry. Okay, so my computer glitched a little bit. I don't know if you were able to see that glitch, but it happened to me. Okay, so let's proceed. So we have this. We have pretty much almost all done already. Now we need to see how to add data through this one. So I want to tie this. Of course, we can actually do it through here. Because we already imported view, let's get the reference. And before the unmounted, let's do const new message equal empty reference, right? And that input box, let's do a vmodel of new message, right? So that means that whatever we have here is going to be tied through our input box, right? Pretty cool. So the next element, and that one, actually we can just add everything and read from Firestore, right? So let's get back to the use chat. And let's go back to our documentation. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to add and manage data. And the simplest way to do it, with a server timestamp, we can use something like server timestamp like this, or actually let's go to data itself. Let's add a document. So set a document is something that's already created with the ID that you want to specify. But if you want to auto-generate one, we use the add document. And we can actually use a waited for that if we need to. That should be something fun to do. So this should be really, really easy to do. So what we need to import a document and we need to get the collection itself and then the document itself that are going to be added, right? That's it. The collection we already had it is our chat collection. So the only things that we need to do is we need to import add document Firestore. After the unsubscribe, let's do cons send message asynchronous, and we need to send a specific message, right? And we need to do a wait and add document. We need to from the chat collection and we need to send the message itself, right? But in order to make it a little bit better, probably we can do something like this. The two text will be my message itself, right? The author should be my user dot value. Remember, I'm already importing the user itself. And created at will be a new date. Or actually, let's use the new date. It's easy for me. That means that's the date that we have currently. So that's going to be the message that we're going to be added. A simple text with the message itself, right? Pointing to the chat collection. We can see it right here with the collection, right? And all this is the document itself. We have the same three fields that we're saving on the database. Cool. And it's asynchronous, and we need to wait for that. Yeah, probably we need to close this. And then we need to close this, probably. Can I save it? Yeah. And let me just export that. Send message, return it. Michael. And that should be it. Nothing fancy, right? Really simple. Sometimes better than Axios, really. So let's get back to here. Let's import that send message. And let's create called a send element. That pretty much what we're going to be doing is call the send message itself with a new message value and set my new message value to empty. That should be it. So the only things that we need to add here is whenever my text will change, we just need to send the message itself. Of course, we can add that the new message value is have a correct value, and probably we need to do that, but I will keep it simple. So I'm not validating that we have something here, right? But let's do it. And let me just refresh just in case. And let me log in. Message from the app. And of course I have a typo. If I click enter, I can see that message from the app got posted there. Now, what is it? Why is in the middle? Because we put this was at 28 and today is 27, the day that I'm saving and created this app. So that means that's why this is it goes on the top, right? But you can see that you just get my message from there. It got correctly my author, and that means that I have it right here. We can look for that, and it's this one, for a man, message from the app. And that works not only for Gmail users. So let's use the email one. This is one of the ones that I have there, and it create another message. This is by user at fake, right? So pretty much this is working the way that it's supposed to. We have pretty much all done in our application in less than an hour. Pretty cool, right? The only thing that bothers me a little bit is that because all the messages are gray, I'm not able to identify my own message for my authenticated user specific color. Probably something simple that we can use. So one of the things is we need to be able to see who we are. So let's use authentication from the use out, and let's get the user from there. Something like this should work. So now we have the user, and this message instead of being background gray, always let's do a second class that is going to be dynamic, right? And here we can use a ternary operator. We can use if user is exactly the same as and the best way to do it is to save the ID and get in the user store or somewhere else, things like that. Right now I'm trying to keep things simple, right? So I know that my user will be exactly the same as message.outer. If that's correct, my background will be, I don't know, let's do yellow. Oops, this should be in single quote now. Background, yellow, I don't know, 200. If not, let's do, oops, the background, gray 200. We close it. And yellow is not complete here. There we go. Perfect. So now because I'm logging in as my user fake, I can see that my message is a different color. Let me open a new tab. Let me put this on the right. Localhost, let me log in the second one with Gmail. I'm Rodolfo Roman now. And here in this browser, Rodolfo Roman is the one that is yellow. And this one, because I'm logging in as user fake, that's the one that is yellow. So I can add, hello, my name is Rodolfo. And you see that got pushed through my app. All of those are getting saved to the database. I can do from here, hello, I'm a fake user. And that gets pushed to here. So now we have a real-time database that is working through our application. And that should be it. For now, let me comment alt. Right? And I will share the source code with you guys. But for now, I believe that's it. For this assignment, what I will want to do is I want you to get back to your login app and I want you to add your chat. So we can actually chat a little bit and see that it's working the way that it's supposed to. So, and that should be it. So you need to go back to your view login. You need to publish the new application though with the new updates. Of course, you need to share that link with me and the GitHub link. And other than that, that should be it, right? Now, what happened is we needed to change something. Well, this is not the case here, but we can actually use the set data, right? We can actually get set the document. Mm, something like this, where we said, there you go. We have a reference, there is a document itself, right? So set document and document, we can actually pull the document from the database, from the collections, and the ID. We know the ID because we are saving the ID here on the key, right? Through message ID. So you can actually send that here to make a reference. And then you can do set the document pointing to the reference and change something about it. In this case, they're changing the capital, right? If you add the merge through, that means that it's just going to merge it. It's not, it's going to overwrite the whole document itself. That's the only thing. And it's a couple of lines to do it. Other than that, it should be more than enough for everybody to understand this. So I really hope that you like it. We didn't have much time in order to go more deep in this kind of situation, but I wanted to share with you how to consume a local API, how to consume a Firebase, and that's the Firestore. So in your final project, you can use one or the other, or actually both at the same time, whatever is the best for you. So I really hope that you like it. Any question or any doubt, don't hesitate to reach me. Happy coding, everybody.